Hey, here we go. Howdy, folks. Thanks for joining us for a webinar on service contracts, RV service contracts. If that's what you're thinking about, some people call them warranties. We'll talk about that in a second. But if that's what you're interested in learning, I brought the man. Vaughn, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, Tim.
So Vaughn is down in the Columbus, Ohio area, not too far from there, Lakeview, Ohio. And I'm up in Cleveland, Ohio. And I'm excited. We have a lot of information to convey. Hopefully you guys have a lot of questions. While you guys are all getting in here, find the chat area. That's where you're going to put your questions in. Don't worry. We're going to have a replay link that comes to you about 2 hours after this. So if you want somebody else to listen in later, no problem. Or you have to bail out early, no problem. That'll come to you in an email, a link to the replay. So find the chat area. Tell us where you're watching from. That'll be fun. And what city, state. And we'll do some shout outs as we get rolling here. So I'm Tim Richardson. As I said, I have the privilege of just equipping you guys. I don't work for Vaughn's company is a brokerage. Basically, he works with a number of different ones. So he's going to bring a vast experience level from years of helping people with RV service contracts. And me, I've just been in the industry for a while. I've been doing a lot of virtual RV shows. We just did our 25th virtual RV show yesterday. Big 8-9 hour show. And we like to prepare and go into the industry and like take cameras down into Elkhart, Indiana and see what's really going on. And warranties is a big part of it. And actually I live probably 10 minutes from one of the bigger warranty companies for RVs. So I've been over to their offices and hung out with those guys and kind of know the inside a little bit. And between Vaughn and I think we can help you out. So let's get started. Donna, thanks for joining us from California. Good morning out there. And Vicky in Kansas City, Eric, Denise, all you guys. That's awesome. Eric, Oklahoma. Okay, cool. Anyways, what's the biggest mistake that you see, Vaughn, that you need to avoid when buying a service contract? And I guess I've come, like for me, and my dad always taught me, it's like, hey, when you're checking out at Walmart and they ask you, $20, for an extra $20, you want to add 3-year warranty onto that product for that TV. My dad always said, don't waste your money. Like you'll never get your money back. Like it's just a waste of money. So, so I came with that mindset until about 3-4 years ago. I started dragging RVs all over the couple of states, doing filming and taking my family and just enjoying camping. And then I realized, wow, there's a lot that can go wrong. You're bouncing this thing down the road. And I realized and then after seeing how they're built and, it's not like automobiles where they're built for hundreds of thousands of miles or buses, and semis that can go millions of miles across bumpy roads. Like these things aren't engineered at that level. So it started to make sense. Like, maybe a warranty, a service contract really does make sense. And then,
imagine hooking your house up to the back of your truck, toting it 500 miles across country and not expecting something to go wrong. I mean,
right.
It's bouncing around. It's like going through a hurricane every time you take a trip.
Well, it's kind of like, and I thought, like you said, you're putting appliances that are, they're appliances that are built for a normal house pretty much. And then I looked at them and I was like, wait a minute, if this thing goes bad, from all the moving around, I can't just go to Home Depot and Lowe's and buy one of these. So I was like, they don't have a propane powered 12 volt, ready, refrigerator. And then I started thinking like, holy cow, like I don't even know that refrigerator. I was just looking at a bunch of RVs yesterday in the show. Those things are full size, but the doors on those RVs are only, 30 inches or 20. I was like, how, wait a minute. They actually put those things in before they put the roofs on these RVs. Right. So there's that's why there's a lot of expenses that, when things go bad, you really want to consider being covered. And so we're going to weigh the pros and cons, talk about used ones, for if you have a used RV. In fact, I'm kind of curious. I'm going to send out a poll. How many already own an RV or that you're getting ready to make a purchase? So you want to figure out the warranty in the service contract side of it before you go in and get pressured, and you just want to have a level head about making a good decision here. So I'm putting up a poll right now. Let me know. Hopefully that shows up. So if you don't see that poll, let me know, but we'll just do it in chat. But yeah, so tell us about some mistakes that you've been seeing that people do when they're figuring out these contracts.
Well, Tim, there are a couple things to really consider. Number one, knowing the type of contract you're going to be purchasing. Read it, understand what's covered. A lot of people go into these things thinking, again, that these are warranties. These are not warranties, they're service contracts. So there are going to be some exclusions. These companies, when they put these contracts together, they want the customer and the consumer to understand what they're signing. I think, getting into a service contract thinking that it's a warranty, and a term that I avoid all the time is bumper to bumper. Now, that the warranty that you get from the manufacturer when you first get it, it is bumper to bumper. But when you buy a service contract, again, there's going to be some exclusions. There are going to be some things that are not covered. And typically those things are things that are structural, things that are considered cosmetic, also normal wear and tear stuff. I always tell people it's kind of no-brainer stuff there. But I think one of the biggest mistakes is people don't understand exactly what the service contract is, but just knowing what you're getting into. And that's why when somebody is interested, we give them a quote. I always get them a contract out so they can look through it themselves. And then if they have questions, they can ask me.
Well, that's the thing. And that's what I've learned is when it comes down to it, you want something that pays the bill, right? And you want to know ahead of time. You don't want surprises, really. So, and surprises happen because, one, you trusted a salesperson that was in a hurry and probably said what you just said. Hey, or made you feel. He may not have said it, but in your mind, you hear it, because a lot of times we hear what we want to hear. It's like, oh, that's bumper to bumper coverage. You pay this amount of money when you buy this. We'll roll it into your payment plan, and it's bumper to bumper coverage. And maybe he doesn't say that, but that's what you hear or think he says. And then down the road, something happens. You have this contract stashed away with all your paperwork. You pull it out, and it's like, and you go to get the claim money, and they deny it. And then you look at it, and it's like, oh, it was in there. It's like, so like you said, I think that is wise. Make sure you ask to see the contract before you sign for it. Read through it. Just take the time. I mean, we're going to show you some contracts because we don't want you to be surprised. Vaughn sent me a couple samples, so we can pull those up, and we're going to make sure you guys know what questions to ask and run some scenarios by these guys. Like, if this happens, is it covered? How would I submit a claim? Like, what's the process? And be comfortable before you spend money. So
I think another thing too, I mean, you say the biggest mistake, there are a couple things too. I mean, who you buy it from, what companies you go with. So there's certain companies that are a lot more difficult to deal with. You talk about denying claims. There are companies out there that are notorious for denying claims, regardless of what it is. That's something too to consider on what I call ease of doing business. They put these service centers through the ringer also in how they pay. There are some companies out there that require the customer to pay, then they reimburse them. That's not ideal. What's ideal in the industry is to pay over the phone with a corporate credit card. All three of the companies that we carry do just that. They pay over the phone with a corporate credit card. So some things to think of. Also, weekend hours. There are some companies that don't have weekend hours. They don't have claims on the weekends. You have to watch out for that too. So those are a few things to avoid when choosing a plan.
And I think it's kind of like insurance, right? There's probably a rating system. I know there's a rating system even for this. Do you want A plus rated, at least on the back end of the money? Make sure you get a reputable provider. I mean, do some homework on that, and you can probably explain later how to do that. But yeah, and whether they have service on the weekends, and just some of the different things that go with getting a good provider.
Right.
It's kind of cool that you and we'll talk about your company at the end and give you a little airtime. But yeah, you have multiple companies, so you see that you're not just selling for one company, you have multiple, so you're basically looking out for the customer. Correct. More than working for a particular company. So very cool. Here, we just kind of mentioned this a little bit. This is probably about a 6-year-old slide too. So these prices,
and those numbers are a little higher now.
Because what's the standard? I mean, if you go to any RV repair place, I think the best, I don't know, RV Wholesalers, I know their rate is like what, $145 or something, and that's cheap. Most of the ones are like $180 an hour. The hourly rate for these places is $180, is pretty much across the nation. Maybe probably more out in California, but anyways, so that's why warranties, are a lot more predictable and give you a service contract that you're paying for. You have this many years of coverage, and that kind of thing.
You bring up a good point on that hourly rate. Some of these extended service plan companies will only pay a certain rate. Then the customer is responsible for paying the difference.
Oh, interesting.
You want to go with a company that is flexible. Okay, like say in Ohio here, the average might be $140, $150 an hour, whereas in California it's $200 and $220. Some companies out there, they will only pay X amount per hour, and then, as I said, the customer is responsible for the others. The companies that we deal with, what they do is they take the average for that area. They know what the average is going to be. Okay. And so, it's going to be different in Ohio than it is in Georgia and it is California. But they know that, and they adjust and improve their claims based on that.
Wow. Well, there's two main types of coverages, right?
Right.
This is the first type. I want you to explain it. So it's pretty important for you guys to understand this. So you can go in, equipped with, hey, it's either stated or it's exclusionary. And here's I'll let you expound on it, but stated, basically only the things stated in the contract are what is covered. So they're going to list out every little detail that's covered. If it's not listed, not covered. And then the opposite, and we'll talk about that in a second, is exclusionary. Exclusionary is pretty much the opposite. Everything's covered, excluding this, this, and this. Right. So, so I'll let you dive in deeper. I just wanted to kind of, simplify it, and then let's figure it out. And we have examples, like I said, will pop up on the screen here.
Yeah, it's a simple way of doing it. Sometimes people get confused about it, and there's also different terminology, inclusionary, exclusionary, whatever. But this is what I use as stated coverage. Now, the two different, exclusionary and stated coverage. Exclusionary is the most comprehensive. Okay, it covers everything in the coach except for what is listed in the exclusions. Those exclusions are typically things that are structural, things that are cosmetic, also normal wear and tear stuff, batteries, brake pads, those type of things.
Yeah, brake pad. Okay.
So if it's not listed, yes, exactly. So if it's not listed in the exclusions, then it is covered. Stated coverage, as you said, is the opposite. They'll list everything like the AC, and they'll list the parts on the AC that's covered, and so on and so forth. So that's the biggest
so they get down
difference.
To that level, and we'll probably see here in a second.
Yeah, and when you pull that up, I'll point that out to people.
Okay.
Yeah, please.
All right. Yeah, look, we're gonna share the screen over here. Give us just a second. We'll get this up. All right. So this one is, if you guys can see it, I mean, it's gonna be fine print. So, but you just tell me, and I'll scroll down as you need. And
okay, well, let's scroll down just a little bit to the next where it says coach. Okay.
Coach,
Scroll up
did you
just
say?
a little
Right
more.
here.
No. Go the other way.
Right there.
No.
Keep going.
Scroll up. Yeah, keep going up. No. I'm sorry. Scroll down. No, I'm sorry,
This
Tim.
way? Okay. Here's the top.
Okay. Yeah. Scroll down a little bit where it says, there you go, coach. See where it says coach down there?
Yeah. And then water heater below it.
Yeah. Just go ahead and
I'll put that at the top here.
A little further up. There you go. Okay. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. Now in stated coverage, what they'll do is they'll lay it out. Okay. In the water heater, these are the parts that are covered on the water heater. Okay. These are the parts that are covered on the waste system. These are parts that are covered on the fresh water system. And they'll lay all those out. If the part that goes wrong is not listed in there, then it's not going to be covered. Okay.
Oh, okay. So it's real specific.
It's very specific. But, some people think, well, they're probably not going to list the things that go wrong most of the time. That's not the case. As you can see in air conditioners, the compressor is a big thing that goes wrong in those things. And that thing's going to be covered.
Yeah,
so again,
like much as on there parts wise.
Yeah, I mean, but they're very specific in the parts that they'll cover within that. Okay. That doesn't mean because you have stated coverage, if it needs totally replaced,
like the refrigerator, like the refrigerator, like if, I don't know, the door fell off and doesn't look like that would be covered, right?
No, that would be a structural thing.
Okay.
Right. Keep in mind, electrical and mechanical. Those are the systems that are going to be covered.
And this is the stated that we're looking at. That's
stated coverage, yes. Now, this particular company, Revelos, their contract is so easy to read. They start out with the coverage, the gold, and then the platinum. The gold and the platinum are both stated coverage. Okay. And then with an exclusionary plan, you just go to the exclusions. Tim, if you'll scroll down to page 6.
Page 6. Don't get overwhelmed by this, guys. It's nice how they bolded it and stuff. It's really not. There's a lot of extra benefit. And we'll talk about
an outstanding job with their contracts.
Okay, there's guidelines. Exclusions. Here we go.
Okay. So as you can see, the exclusions are listed in bold. They want people to understand what's in there. Now, folks, it looks like there's a lot, but they have to list out, any like hinges, those type of things. Right. So every little thing that's not going to be covered in a motorhome or fifth wheel or travel trailer is going to be.
And a lot of that, like on a motorhome, since we're looking at a motorhome, a lot of your motorhome stuff, it's built on a Ford chassis or it's built on something that has a longer warranty than typical, right? I mean, yes. That part of it comes from Ford, so that actually is, that could be a 5-year, 50,000 mile, that varies. It's not like a. Yeah,
typically they're 3 years. Some of the Mercedes diesel ones go 5 years, but typically on a motorhome, it's 3 years on the drivetrain, 5 years on the transmission, and then on the motor coach part of it, 1 year on the coach, and usually the roof has a 10 to 12-year warranty, and also structural is the structure typically has a 3-year factory warranty as well.
Okay,
but as you see, the things are listed. The exclusions are listed there, and they're in bold. They want people to understand what's not listed. When you go down through these, now these are travel trailers and motorhomes. So if you have a travel trailer or fifth wheel, you just kind of weed through some of the motorhome stuff.
Okay, yeah, the engine, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Yeah, and so really this exclusion part, that's really your best coverage as far as
yes,
more
exactly.
comprehensive. Sometimes
It's
not
more
even,
comprehensive.
and sometimes not that much more expensive than stated. You know, like if you look at some of the, I hate to bring up names and stuff, but like the Good Sam's, some of those stated coverages are pretty, you know, sometimes aren't much different price than an exclusionary coverage. So
Right,
definitely do your
right.
shopping around.
And another difference in the exclusionary versus stated are the benefits that you
Yeah.
get. Now, if
Is
you'll
there,
scroll up
what's
to the
that?
benefits section on it's section 3, Tim. I think it's page 3.
Okay. Definitions,
Okay.
rental. Oh, here, is this it right here?
Yes. There are a lot of different benefits in the plans that we sell, okay, including emergency roadside assistance, towing, service calls are part of that, as well as lockout service. And as you can see, there's a gold, a platinum, and a diamond plan. The gold and platinum, again, are stated coverage. The diamond is exclusionary. As you look at this, let's say, for instance, $1,000 towing option. It's an option for the gold and the platinum. It's standard for the diamond plan. What that means is they'll pay for the first $1,000 of a tow. Okay. But in the platinum plan, they'll pay for the first 500. The same with the gold. So again, you can look at the levels of what they pay out. Travel expenses on the diamond plan, $200 per day for 3 days. Now what that'll cover, let's say you have an issue with your motorhome and the repair facility has to keep it a couple of days. Okay. You're like, okay, what am I going to do? Well, they will pay up to $200 a day for expenses. That would be for hotel rooms and also for restaurant meals for 3 days.
And
So
I
that's
see
$600 over 3 days.
And airplane flights too. It looks like they'll
Airplane.
pay for
They have a pet concierge. So if you have to board your pet during that time, or that pet benefit, if you have to board your pet during that time, they'll pay up to that amount. So it's a lot of cool stuff. Concierge service, emergency roadside assistance, the RV technical assistance as well is all part of all three. So if the plan that you're purchasing has benefits, then know what your benefits are and how much they pay out. It's pretty standard for the exclusionary plans. If they have benefits, it's either $150 or $200 a day for those travel expenses.
Okay.
For towing, it's usually $500 or $1,000.
Nice. Oh man, this is really helpful. I did the poll. It looks like everybody pretty much is wise. They're learning about this before they buy. So that's I'm proud of you guys. So
well, I get a lot of that, and people will call in and say they want the quote for, but then they have questions, and some people are a little shy about asking questions. They don't know what they don't know. We got a lot of first time buyers, and they don't know what they don't know, and that's what I just like to kind of hold their hand and walk them through it for them to understand. Because last thing I want is somebody to come back to me down the road and say, "Well, you didn't say that, or you said that," or. But I want to make sure I make sure that if they have questions, I'm there to help them.
No, I'm glad there's people like you out there in RVing Solutions and companies like that where gives you another option though, because a lot of times the buying process, there's a lot of pressure there. I just not too long ago picked up a car for my daughter, and and as part of that, they wanted paint and fab and all these warranty types of things. And it's like, and you kind of want to just make a decision and, roll it all together. And you don't realize that, if I just took a couple extra hours and did some homework, I could find, I might be able to save half, what I would drop just because of the heat of the moment, So I think it's nice that you're able to kind of walk people through this and shop for them, find the best coverage for for their budget and that kind of thing. So that's pretty cool.
It's interesting. When it comes down to price, and again, you may be at your dealership and they're, say you're buying a $75,000 rig and they charge you $7,000 for the service contract. Well, you can, people will tell me that, and then I'll come back with their quote. Let's say, for instance, it's $3,500. Okay. Then they go to the dealer and say, well, I got this price, and the dealer automatically comes down. Well, I always tell people, why would you do business with them if they
why would
didn't
you buy
give
from a dealer
their best price to begin with? Because if you didn't have my price, then you wouldn't have anything to go by. I know what these things cost. It doesn't cost them any more or any less than it does for our company, so don't reward the dealer for, not giving you their best price to begin with.
Yeah. Find a good dealer. This is an interesting one. I figured we should probably warn folks, because I was, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, I was walking around a dealers only show where it was just catered, they brought in all these warranty companies and, parts providers and all this kind of stuff just for dealers. So I'm going through this RV show for dealers, and I'll never forget a guy taps me on the shoulder. I turn around. He wants to talk to me about these warranty for life kind of things. They have different names, lifetime warranty. And it sounded good. It's like, oh, wow, I'll buy an RV that I can have a lifetime warranty on. And then he explained to me, thinking, I'm a dealer, just because I was there with some dealer friends. And so he's explained to me, it's like, oh, you're going to want this for your company because, one, and this is like 4 or 5 years ago, you'll average $900 of extra income in your service department from every customer, because we require, in order for that warranty to keep going year to year, every year they have to come in and get service work done. If they don't come in by the exact date of the renewal, if they miss it by a day, the whole thing's null and void. No more warranty for them. And anyways, my little detectors went up, and I realized, hey, this is not in the best interest of our customers. It's in the best interest of our service profit margins. And so, yeah. And then some of those dealers will give you the warranty for life and sell you a service contract on top of it. So it's like, well, if I got, it doesn't make sense. It's very frustrating.
They get your head spinning,
Yeah.
If you're caught in a situation like that, ask them, why do I need an extended service plan if I have this warranty for life?
Yeah.
Again, it's the fine print. When you bring that in on a yearly basis, they charge you a certain amount to look at it and to just go through it and everything, and maybe do certain things. But then each year that price goes up. And a guy told me, he says, every time I took it in, he says, I had it for 3 years, the first 3 years. He said they always found something that wasn't, quote, covered under their warranty for life. So I would have to pay for it. So those are things you have to look out for on those warranty for life. It just sounds good, but really, dive into it and make sure, if it does have a warranty for life, what it entails, what it covers, and such.
Good advice. So some of our folks may not jump into a brand new RV where everything's rolled in and they shop for a extended warranty. Can they get? Can you actually help folks if they end up buying a used RV? And could you walk us through that process? I guess I
certainly. A common question that I get is when do I have to buy this?
Yeah, because
you can buy it anytime.
It's like, or with a house warranty, it's like you have 30 days, man. If you don't make that decision, good luck, or whatever.
Yeah.
Is it?
And that's not the case either. Yeah, a lot of times, Tim. People will tell me the dealers told them that if they walk out the door, they aren't able to buy it. Well,
interesting. Yeah, I bet that happens a lot.
You can buy them anytime. The pricing is based on the year of the coach, the miles, if it's a motorhome, and also the overall NADA value of of the coach as well. That's how pricing is determined. There are companies will only go back so far for a used vehicle. The companies that we use will go out 15 years. Okay. So there are a couple of companies out there will go out 20 years, but
really,
and the prices on those things are really high too. but yeah, 15 years. So if it's a 2007 and above, we can sell you a extended service plan.
Nice. Yeah, I didn't even realize they went out that far. Nice.
Yeah, they go out as far as 15 years. You can buy it any time.
And the cool thing you're probably getting ready to mention is it can be transferred. So if you're you realize, oh man, our family outgrew this, or whatever reason you're upgrading to a bigger one, smaller one, and you sell it, you can actually transfer that with as part of the sale, so that they get the benefit. A little extra selling power there, and so you can transfer it. If you had this thing, didn't have a claim, like fixed everything yourself, never turned in a claim, whatever. They even prorate, don't they? Like you say, you got to the end of your 5-year term or whatever, didn't use it, you get some of that back.
If you can't, you can cancel at any time for any reason.
Okay.
It is prorated less any claims you have against it. Okay.
Okay.
And the companies that we use are very fair with that pro rating. I've had customers tell me they were really, really happy with that. So go back to what you're saying, the transfer, you could transfer it from one owner to the other. You can't transfer it from one coach to another because there's some variables there.
Yeah.
Okay. And usually it's a $50 or $75 fee to do that. Thus, when you go to sell it, it makes it more appealing. You may be able to get a little bit more money out of it, and also maybe a little easier to sell because somebody knows it has a service contract for
Yeah, I'd feel a lot better about buying one that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, well, I'm inheriting some problems probably, but at least I have coverage. So.
Yeah, I've had customers call and buy a 1-year or 2-year plan just for in negotiations with somebody who's looking to buy. Yeah, and they'll say, okay, I'll buy a plan. Yeah.
Okay.
So I've had customers do that too.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. So they're very flexible when it comes to that.
So I'm going to give you a scenario, and folks in the chat, throw some questions at us. We're ready to dive into those whenever when you have them. So don't be afraid to ask. But yeah, I'm going to throw a scenario at you. So
got some people on board. You want to let's say hi to some of these people. Donna, Vicky, how you doing? Vicky's buying in a couple of years. Jeff there, and he's looking at RVs. Denise, she's got a brand new RV. It looks like. Brenda, also there in Texas. Hi. Donna out in California. Vicky in Kansas City. Great barbecue there in Kansas City. And hello to you, Denise, in Oklahoma.
Yes. So
just a few of the people we have listening here today. We appreciate you taking time out.
Yeah. And no, this is really helpful stuff. And I'm glad you were able to share this with us, Vaugh. Say they are going the used route. They buy a used one. They get it. They buy some coverage. They buy a plan, and they submit a claim, and then they hear back from the company that writes this that no, it's not covered. That was a pre-existing condition. You hear that in the healthcare side of things. Like how does that happen, and is there a way to prevent that? And kind of what's your recommendation on, kind of being able to curb that?
First of all, be aware or be wary of companies that don't require an inspection. Okay. The 3 companies that we use do require an inspection. That inspection is paid for by us, and they come to you to do the inspection. Okay. I've had people call me. They're 2 months into a plan or 3 months into a plan with somebody else, and they make a claim. and it's maybe a simple claim should be covered, but they say it's a pre-existing condition. Well, typically those calls that I get are from companies, or they have companies that didn't require an inspection. So it's kind of a loophole right there. So,
Well, if they don't
say, what's that?
Oh yeah. So if they don't require an inspection, that's kind of a red flag.
Yeah. And even, and those companies usually have a 30 or 45 day waiting period, but still, like I've had people who are 2 months into a plan have a water heater go out. They denied the claim stating that it was a pre-existing condition. Well, how would they would know that it wasn't working or wasn't working properly had they done an inspection. So again, be kind of leery of that too.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think the inspection is good. Even if, even if you're thinking about buying a used one, the inspection, you're going to want to either have that done or have, get a warranty that's going to have it done. So, because there's so many things that can water damage, like all kinds of things that can really take out a RV real quick. So,
looks like Rico. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, he has the question, and I'll ask you this: buying in the next month, are you able to suggest best companies for exclusionary coverage?
All of the service contract companies have exclusionary coverage. As far as best ones, of course, I'm going to lead towards the ones that we represent. Revelos, Cornerstone, United States Warranty. Yeah, well, there are a lot of good companies out there, but there are also some companies that aren't so good. People say, well, they get online and they'll do reviews and that type of thing. You got to be kind of leery of that too, because of the social influencers. There's some companies that hire social influencers to go and write bad things about a competitor. So kind of take those with a grain of salt. Rico, there are, some companies out there, probably cutting my throat a little bit. America's Best Warranty is a good company. Also, like I said, Cornerstone, Revelos, all companies that have been in business for quite a while, are all good companies. United States Warranty is another one there in Ohio.
And that's a good example because that's the one that's like right beside me. But United States Warranty, if you search for that, there's a car warranty called U.S. Warranty or something.
Yeah, out of Florida.
Yeah. And so it's like it's very confusing. So you really have to do your homework on these, or find someone that's, like you, that's been in it for years and have, kind of vetted how, know what's paid the bills and what's, a headache. So
exactly.
Brenda had a good question. Are these companies servicing nationwide or only in certain areas?
These would be nationwide. You could take it anywhere that accepts an extended service plan, not only in the United States, but also in Canada.
Nice. Oh yeah, Julie. Sorry, Julie. I cut the first time you started listing off some companies that you represent and recommend. I cut you off. So could you repeat some of the ones that you like that you've worked with?
Revelos, also Cornerstone United. Revelos is located in Atlanta. Cornerstone United in Hickory, North Carolina, and of course, United States Warranty here in Ohio in the Cleveland area.
Yeah, cool. And I'll put up your contact information too here, so that people can, as they start diving into it, start getting quotes and that kind of thing. So let me see if I have that.
If you're in California, you can contact Wholesale Warranties there.
Slide. Okay. Vaughn, your email, you actually have a specific email to Vaugh Miller, right? At RVing
You're welcome, Julie.
Here's Vaughn's email. I just put it in the chat, Vaugh Miller at RVing Solutions. If you don't mind, if people have questions after this that we don't get to, or if they just want to know, what is a typical, here's what I'm thinking about buying. How much would that cost to cover? I think you'll find that you'll probably save, when you say about have you seen like about half what you typically would pay from an RV dealer? Typically,
Typically, yeah. I mean,
it's significant, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So,
well, I tell the story about a gentleman who paid almost $400,000 for a coach, and they charged him $28,000 for a plan that I ended up selling him. I think it was like $3,800.
what?
And same exact exclusionary plan. He would ask me. He said, "Do you realize the interest I'll be paying on that?" And I'm like, "Yeah." They roll it over into, and you're paying for it long after that thing's done. So they want to roll it into your financing.
Yeah, that's why I get. That's why I take the time to do these webinars, because I get so frustrated with this kind of stuff that's happening. It's like, okay, there's these hidden fees, or on the RV dealer side more so than just on the service contract. But I'm watching these dealers. Okay, they make their profit on the price of the RV. So, and that's where you expect them to make it. But then what you're not expecting, where I'm seeing it, is they will have a price increase that comes from the factory, they say, and which is true. There's price increases.
Yeah,
but you
very
know what
much
that
so.
price is. And then they just give it to you at the end. It's like, oh, you're here to pick up your RV. Oh, by the way, it went up $8,000 since the time you ordered it 7 months ago. We have to pass that on to you. Obviously, we can't eat that. And then, so it's not even what you had agreed to in a sales agreement, but there was this little fine print that said subject to factory price increases, or, just stuff like that. Hidden fees. Oh, charge you for walkthroughs and inspections, and just stuff that it really gets my blood boiling. So that's why we do these, and that's I appreciate Vaughn just being honest about and just kind of laying it out there. Here's what to watch out for. So this is really helpful.
And two, there's one of the three companies that we use. They do offer financing, and it's a 0 interest finance plan. Typically, you put 10% down. Let's say it's a $2,800 service contract. You put $280 down, then the rest of that is split out over a 12-month or 18-month period. No finance charges, no interest charges.
Well, that makes it nice. So if you can't roll it into that's actually better. So if you're not rolling it in, okay. So you're okay. I just heard what you said, because and I just kind of clicked. So say you buy an RV, typically 10, 15, 20 year, 12, 10, 12, 20 year term lengths. So they're rolling these service agreements into that contract, or into that payment plan. So yeah, you're really paying interest for 10 years, but it's really only a 5-year coverage. So you're just throwing away money after money long term.
You continue to pay on it. So it's better if you can afford it to go out and just spend the money outright on it. Or if a company offers financing like that, it's a 0 interest, like what Revlos does. It's a 0 interest payment plan. And you can either receive a monthly bill or have it taken off of a credit card or a bank draft.
Wow.
And for either 12 months or 18 months.
That's a lot of money. We should do an example on how much money that they would spend on, say, a $3,000 contract. Oh, that's interesting. Wow. Okay. Thanks for sharing that. Real quick, we thank you guys for staying with us as we wrap up here. A couple more questions, but I wanted to give a little prize away for all of you. First person to take a picture of this screen or a screen capture of this and email Vaughn, either at Vaugh Miller or information at RVing Solutions. Both will get to him. First person to do that, we're going to give away a safe, but it's not your typical. This is a water bottle safe. And inside here, you can fill this with water or Coke. You can change the label, whatever you want it to say. But there's a little safe area. So when you're at the beach, you don't have to stuff your money in your.
How cool is that?
Into your tennis shoe like I do. And everybody probably knows I do that. You can hide it in here and then put your name on it so nobody throws it away. And put that in the cooler and feel a little bit safer when you're out and about or hiking and playing in the ocean. Or looks like you're at the ocean. I don't see the waves moving much behind you.
Yeah, I'm
there,
at my palatial estate here.
You're dreaming. It's a nice dream.
I will let people know. Number one is when you contact us, or you go to our website and you submit a quote request. None of that information is sold to other companies. None of that information, you're not going to be bothered, because I'm the only one doing it. I'm the only one there.
Yeah, it's basically your little brokerage there. So
yeah, and so
marketing department.
What we do is don't be worried about any of that, and we're not high pressure at all. We give people the information. We're very transparent. We want people to understand what's covered, what's not covered, and not like other brokers. Some people will sell you a plan, say, okay, turn you loose, and you have to deal with the administrator now. Well, with claims and stuff like that, certainly that is the case. But if you have questions, you have something that I can help you with, and I'm going to give you an example. Gentleman, this was back in the fall, took his coach in. It was a motorhome, into his local dealer. It was a small dealer, and his AC went out, and the guy kept it. And he was there almost 5 weeks. It was at the end of October. This gentleman calls me and he says, Vaughn, he says, I just called the repair facility, and they told me that the company that I'd sold him a plan with has not gotten back with him regarding my AC. He says, I thought that was kind of funny. I was wanting to know if you can help me out here. And I said, well, I looked up his contract number and everything. And I said, give me about a half hour. I'm going to give them a call. I called them and asked them if a claim had been made against this particular unit. The lady at the other end of the claims department says, yeah, that claim was made this morning. So some of these service centers, dealerships, will throw the company, the extended service plan company, under the bus because they're dragging their feet, or they just want to make more money on a repair. Okay. So that's what I'm here for too, is to make sure, hey, it sounds a little shady there. Let's get involved there. And that's something that you could certainly do. If you have a contract, you can call the administrator, say, hey, has there been a claim against this? So you got to kind of watch out. I look at blogs, I look at stuff, and I say, the reason why this person's upset because this stuff's not covered, or the repair facility will code things wrong, or just throw the company under the bus. So be aware of that too when you're making your choices.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. It's like you put the boxing gloves on for them.
Yeah. I mean, it's a simple thing, and that's part of what we do, and it's something I take very, very much a lot of pride in.
Yeah, nice. All right. Any last questions, Donna? Thanks. Glad you got to learn a lot here today. I always wonder, it's like, how do these warranty companies stay in business with as many things as can go wrong on an RV? And I worked at Nationwide Insurance for 8 years out of college. Worked there, and actually worked with the claims side of things on the system side. But one thing I learned there was claims. Yes, they lose a lot of money on claims. They pay out a lot of claims, and that's what they're in business to do, is to take care of their customers, right?
Uh-huh.
But they use that cash flow that comes in every month from these payments to invest it, and that's where they make their money. That allows them to have a loss over on this side. They're actually making more money on their investment side because they have cash to do that. And so anyways, I always wondered, like, big picture, like, doesn't make sense. Like, why would this company be in business to lose all this money? And then as I worked it and I saw the nationwide investment side of the business, I realized, oh, actually, that makes sense. Okay, now I see
it's amazing. It's amazing, Tim, the amount of people I talk to, and I'll ask them, why do you want this? And 90% of the people I talk to say peace of mind. Okay. Mm-hmm. I hope that I never have to use it, but if I have to use it, it's nice to be able to know that I have that peace of mind. Yeah. And, and then there's the analytical folks that say, okay, I spent, say if it's a travel trailer or whatever, I spent $2,500 on a service contract that I never used. Well, that was a waste. No, it really wasn't. You were in a position during the time that you own your, if you've got an RV and you didn't have a lick of problems with it over 4 years, boy, you are really, really lucky. You're really lucky. So,
and it's a small amount. So it's a few dollars each month compared to getting hit with, a huge, thousands of dollars bill at a time when it may be tight, so I think it does make a lot of sense.
Yeah, you brought up a good point earlier on about the refrigerator and how they have these great big huge refrigerators, but this little door. Okay. Yeah. Okay. If something goes wrong, they have to replace that refrigerator. What happens? Right. I talked to a gentleman. He said, I bought a service contract and I went through the whole thing. I used it a couple times, but I didn't re-up. It ran its course, and he said a month later his refrigerator went out in his motorhome. Well, typically what they have to do in that case, they have to take the slide out to get that's labor intensive for one. Yeah. Well, they couldn't take his slide out because of how the plumbing was in there. Okay. So what they had to do, Tim, is that they had to remove the front windshield out of the motorhome to get the refrigerator out to replace it. Okay. Cost him almost $6,000.
Oh God.
He said, and he called me and he bought a plan. He says, that's not going to happen to me again. So, so you think about that, folks. Think about that. You look at all that nice stuff. How'd they get it in there? Well, that's how they get it in there. They build it and then put the slides in. But hey, if something goes wrong, they have to replace it. They have to get it out somehow, and that's not cheap.
Yeah, it's
especially if it's $150, $200 an hour.
I should pull up the video of them making the RVs from when I go to the factory. But it is really fascinating. They put down the floor first. Then they actually set all the cabinets in the bathroom and in the kitchen, and then they build the walls, the inside walls, and then they build the outside walls. Then they attach the roof, build the roof. So it's kind of fun to think about. It'd be kind of a fun video. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate Vaughn taking time and really helpful. So,
Tim, it's always a pleasure.
And you guys are well equipped now to make better decisions. And if you need help on the RV side, Vaughn probably knows some people too that can help point you. He's probably worked with some guys that do a good job with like RV Wholesalers and some of the folks there that do a good job with selling RVs in a more control, in a honest way, I guess is the best way to put it. So, all right. Thanks, Rico. We'll talk to you guys later.
Thank you, Rico. We appreciate it. Yeah. Donna, thank you.
Yeah. Happy camping soon.